Coming of Age is coming up next. I'm your host, Emily Echeverria. If you're looking to improve your health for the new year, we're talking with Dr. David Miles of the Baptist Heart and Vascular Institute about how you can get a head start to a healthy heart. Next up, we'll be discussing an organization that makes a positive impact on our community through music. And finally, we're keeping with the musical theme and finding out what's in store for us from Pensacola Opera this season. Stay with us. Coming of Age starts right now. As we age, staying active in life and involved in the community can become a challenge. But with Council on Aging of West Florida's wide range of home-based services, you remain healthy, independent, and engaged. From Meals on Wheels and respite care to senior dining sites and the retreat, you'll find the support and connection that you need to age well. Aging looks different for everyone, and we're here to help you meet your needs and thrive while maintaining what makes you, you. We've been in the community since 1972, advocating for elders and supporting those who care for our parents and grandparents. Now, join us as we discuss the age-related issues that matter to you. According to the CDC, heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. Fortunately, there are ways we can reduce our risk. Here to talk to us today about this is Dr. David Miles, a cardiologist that provides care to patients at Baptist Heart and Vascular Institute, and nurse practitioner Whitney Cartwright. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So what exactly is heart disease and why is it so prevalent?
So heart disease is kind of an all-encompassing, term. Heart disease encompasses disease of the arteries of the heart called the coronary arteries. It encompasses diseases of the valvular structures. There are 4 valves in the heart. You can have either leaks in the valve or narrowing to one of the heart valves. It can deal with the electrical system of the heart, a common issue, atrial fibrillation, and many other heart rhythm issues. So as I was saying, it's all encompassing, but the most obviously the most common cause is coronary artery disease, or what we use the term atherosclerosis, or the formation of plaque in our arteries, which can lead to bad things like heart attacks and even strokes.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And so what are the risk factors that we should be aware of?
So many issues related to heart disease in general is going to be usually age-related. As it relates to coronary artery disease, some of the risk factors shift to more lifestyle choices and other metabolic issues. High blood pressure, otherwise known as hypertension, diabetes or elevated blood sugar, high cholesterol. Also, genetics play a really important role, so we do like to look at that. Certain particular risk factors for women, such as polycystic ovarian syndrome, can actually increase someone's cholesterol, which can also increase their risk of having coronary artery disease. Also, having preeclampsia is also an important risk factor that's often not looked at enough.
Wow, okay. So what can a person do to lower their risk of heart disease?
Well, obviously we can do the obvious, in which I think we all know is the first is no smoking, and then doing other things like knowing what your blood pressure is, and if high, seeing your physician, having that treated, doing, which we all know, trying to do more exercise, especially the aerobic variety, walking. The American Heart recommends at least 150 minutes of kind of moderate walking or exercise per week per person. But then if you're diabetic, treating your diabetes, knowing what your blood sugar is. And what we like to tell patients, when they go to their doctor and they have their cholesterol checked, which we use the term lipids, is just not knowing, well, everything is okay or everything's not bad and going on. They should know what their numbers are. Knowing not only what their total, but especially what the lay press calls the bad cholesterol or LDL cholesterol, or the good or HDL cholesterol, and knowing your triglyceride levels. But we try to emphasize to people, you've got to know those numbers so then you can get adequate treatment appropriately.
Mm-hmm. So getting that blood work done kind of regularly with the lipid panel.
That's very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a bit about the new Cardiac Prevention and Cholesterol Management Clinic.
So we do have a specialty clinic offered through Baptist Cardiology, the Vascular Institute. It's offered right now at the 9 Mile Baptist Medical Park location on Wednesdays. And in that clinic, it's for really any patient, anybody who wants just a deeper dive into their risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. So you don't have to have any heart conditions to see us. You can refer yourself. You can call and make an appointment with Baptist Cardiology requesting the lipid clinic. But also for people who maybe already has heart disease and want to know what they can do to further reduce their risk of having any events related to it. Usually our patients will first see Dr. Miles as the new patient. It's a pretty extensive visit, usually about 40 minutes to 60 minutes, where Dr. Miles will do a very in-depth evaluation of the patient. Usually the history and the physical are really important. There's special indicators for patients that are usually underutilized and really not looked at closely that can indicate a genetic risk or that the patient wasn't aware of. So we do that. We do special lab testing and additional testing just to really further evaluate someone's risk, and we can give them more of an individualized treatment plan based off that.
Awesome. So someone can come if they're having issues, and then someone can come if they want to see if they're kind of more at risk for the issues.
Exactly. So our program really is designed for anybody who is curious about what their individual risk is.
Okay, great. And so what kind of testing might be ordered?
Yeah. So as Whitney said, history and physical, the old-fashioned history and physical is the most important thing in my opinion, just sitting down and talking, to the patient and hearing what their history is, because you can glean so much from the history and from family history in particular, especially when you're dealing with heart disease, because as we all know, genetics play such an important role in the development of what we call coronary artery disease and even in lipid management, because lots of patients have a condition called familial hyperlipidemia, meaning it's passed on through generations. And it's important to know that history. But then once we got that history, again, there are other specialized testing that we do to get a measurement of other lipid particles. There are newer lipid particles, which I think people are going to learn more and more about as we go along. There's a particle called LPA, which we know is a significant genetic risk marker, which we're trying to encourage all adults to have that checked at least once. And we also do what we call a calcium score, which kind of gives us another measurement of cardiac risk. It's a low-level CT scan whereby you're just looking for calcium formation along the arteries, which is kind of a byproduct, so to speak, of atherosclerosis.
Gotcha. So what kind of medications might be used to treat heart disease?
So a lot of people think that when they come to see us that's exactly what we'll start with, is adding medications. Oftentimes we actually take away medications. There's a lot of medications that patients are on who they don't realize could be impacting their cholesterol negatively or even increasing the risk of diabetes. So we really like to take a deep dive into the medications, and we may end up having patients leave with less medicine. We do often feel that lifestyle is the most important, dietary management, as well as exercise. So we actually have a dietitian who is a registered and licensed dietitian at every visit, no added cost. So she's a part of every patient's visit just to get an additional evaluation of their dietary habits to see what can be done to help. But nutrition counseling is really important. Because we are partnered through the Andrews Institute. We do have the ability to refer patients to see a exercise physiologist as well. So for patients who maybe have certain limitations with arthritis or back pain, hip pain, they might be able to get some additional ideas of what physical activity that can be done. We do use the traditional statin medications as well, but we know some patients can't take those, and so we do offer additional medications that are more cutting edge that can include medicines up to just twice a year.
Awesome. So a holistic approach to heart health.
Very much.
Well, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're talking with Nan DeStafney about how the Blues Angel Music Foundation brings the benefits of music to people of all ages. Stay tuned.
If you're looking for a fun and exciting environment for your loved one, then L&L Executive Adult Daycare is a perfect fit. We offer social gatherings, physical activities, games, outings, and daily luncheons from Karen's Catering. We take a holistic approach to social stimulation and aim to enrich the lives of our guests. Let us help restore your loved one's mind, body, and soul. We'd love to speak to you. L&L Executive Adult Daycare. Big business love with small town feel.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You can even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
The Beacon at Gulf Breeze offers the finest senior living community in the area. We are here for your loved ones who need assisted living and advanced memory care services. Seniors will feel right at home with studio, one-bedroom apartments, a large dining area, a beautiful landscape courtyard, and even a salon. With professional staff and one-on-one care, your loved ones are our top priority. Welcome to the Beacon at Gulf Breeze. Welcome home.
You may be familiar with Blues Angel Music as the locally owned music store for instruments, lessons, and any music equipment you could possibly need. But owners Jim and Nan DeStafney also wanted to harness the power of music to make a positive impact in the community, and they do that through the Blues Angel Music Foundation. Here to talk with us about the mission of the foundation is Nan DeStafney. Thank you for joining us, Nan.
Thanks for having me, Emily. I appreciate it.
Well, first of all, tell us about the Blues Angel Music Foundation and how it got started.
Well, we started in about 2010, and it's Blues Angel Music, giving instruments to people who couldn't afford them, and we'd provide music lessons and music therapy, and it got a little out of hand. And so I started calling it the foundation, and then in 2012, I was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and somebody handed me a check for the foundation for $200. So I had to start a formal 501c3 nonprofit foundation.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the projects that the foundation supports or has supported in the past?
So we have essentially two arms. We provide musical instruments mostly for students who can't afford them, and we do that via the school system. The other thing we provide is music therapy. So that's across the lifespan, and it can be for children who are on the spectrum, adults who've had some form of brain injury, whether it's stroke or birth trauma or traumatic brain injury, or for seniors who are suffering from any form of dementia.
Mm-hmm. And why is this effort so important to the people that are served by these programs?
It only takes a spark. Anytime you provide or introduce music education to anyone, it literally opens the mind, not just socially and emotionally, but physiologically. Even being a member of a choir, which you don't need anything but what you're born with to be in a choir, can introduce somebody to an avenue for socialization and service that otherwise they wouldn't have. And you're learning a new language. So.
Yeah. At the Retreat Adult Daycare, I know when they play music, which they do so often, a lot of the people there will just light up and you see that spark open up in their eyes. It's incredible. So tell me about some of the projects you've done with music programs for those people who do have dementia.
So for the adult daycare program that you had, the program that we introduced there was our memory care program, which is taken from Alive Inside. And so we provide the individual with a very individualized program. We have headsets, and we have an iPod or whatever they use, and we load it with the music of their day. And so you can find people that are there that are sometimes not responsive, sometimes obtunded, and you introduce the music that they remember from their earlier days, and you can spark memory. I'm sure you remember, if you hear music from your first date, suddenly you remember what you were wearing, you remember the evening, who you were with, what the price of gas was. It just triggers all the memories that went with that piece of music.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the significance of music therapy for those with dementia and Alzheimer's disease? I mean, we've kind of been talking about it, that it just...
So there's a couple of things that we do. Not only do we have the memory program, but we also have the therapy program where we introduce band. People who've played instruments before, we reintroduce them to instruments, and we form bands, like the Fifth Dementia. I mean, it's a popular band. So the significance, I think, is that when you're dealing with the aging population, and so many of us that are affected with dementia, which are a lot now because there's so many of us, baby boomers, we want to have the best quality of life that we can have for as long as we can have. So I think we're trying to, it's just a therapeutic modality. I mean, the advances in Alzheimer's are coming fast now, and so we're hoping for a cure. But in the meantime, this is a way to hang on to memories that are fading.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add about anything you have coming up or what's going on with the Blues Angel Music Foundation in general?
So the foundation is supported by the Blues on the Bay Summer Concert Series. The City of Pensacola and Blues Angel Music puts on a concert. We have 8 or 10 concerts every summer. We've done it for about the last 10 years. They're free concerts. The families come and we grill up hot dogs and serve soda pop, and Arlene's Barbecue is there, and families just come and have a lovely time at our free concert.
And that's at Bayview Park?
It's at Maritime Park.
Maritime Park.
And so it's every Sunday afternoon that the Wahoos are in away games.
Gotcha.
And so all summer long. And like I said, it's free, but we get to talk about the foundation, and people are very generous with contributions. The other thing people can do is bring in their instruments they're not playing anymore, and that's our Under the Bed program. So if you've got instruments in your attic or under your bed, bring them in. We can fix them, and we can get them either sold or redistributed. And the last thing I want to be sure to mention is that there is no cost. There's no administrative expenses that are covered by any contribution. Everybody that works with the foundation is paid by Blues Angel Music. So all 100% of anything donated to the foundation goes right out in projects.
Awesome. So if anyone wants to get involved or they want to make a donation, how can they get in touch?
So all of these things are very labor intensive. And so we can use all the volunteers we can get for various projects that we have all over town. And then of course, just call Blues Angel Music. We can provide you with documentation for your tax deduction, so for cash contributions, as well as instruments.
Sure. All right, thank you so much,
Thank
Nan.
you, Emily, I appreciate it.
Stay with us. We're talking about the upcoming offerings from Pensacola Opera next.
Over 2 decades ago, TLC Caregivers partnered with the Council on Aging of West Florida to assist seniors with non-medical help to stay independent in their own homes. Our commitment to providing these services started in 1989 and has grown to aid people from birth through geriatrics. From a short visit of 2 hours to 24 hours a day. We're a proud sponsor of the Council on Aging of West Florida. We're TLC Caregivers.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
When cancer tries to take you away from the things that matter most, Baptist Cancer Institute offers caring physicians and the most innovative treatment options. With convenient locations and a wide array of support programs and services, we're here to help you during the most difficult of times. As a member of the Mayo Clinic Care Network, we're bringing even more innovative cancer care to our community right here at home. When you need cancer care, we'll be there.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Pensacola Opera is currently celebrating its 40th season with an upcoming show this month and more events on the way. We've got music director Cody Martin here to tell us more about what we can expect this season and what opportunities there are for you to experience opera in our community. Thank you for being here, Cody.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, tell me a bit about Pensacola Opera and your role there.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we are in our 40th anniversary this year. Over the past 40 years, we've grown from a completely volunteer-run and established organization into a full-time staff of 6 people, and we bring in international opera stars each season. We've really flourished over the past 40 years, and we're excited to celebrate that.
Yeah. And what is your role there?
Oh yes, I am the music director, so I am in charge of anything musical that happens, whether that be conducting performances, playing some things, coaching all of the singers, preparing orchestra parts, anything you can think of.
Gotcha. So this month, Pensacola Opera brings La Boheme to the Sanger stage. Tell us a bit about that show.
So La Boheme is consistently within the top 5 most performed operas around the world. I just looked up some stats, and this season I believe there are 136 individual productions around the world.
Wow.
Ours is just one of those 136. So it's a great love story, some beautiful melodies. If you've never been to an opera before, it's the perfect first opera. It's relatively short. You will laugh at parts, you will cry at the end, I guarantee it.
Awesome. So Pensacola Opera has been doing some exciting things in the community over the last year. What are some of the ways the organization is bringing opera out into the community, into different venues?
Yeah, so we have all sorts of different projects of varying scales. One of our largest things that we're proud of is our education programs. So we have 4 professional singers and a pianist who are here with us for the entire season, and they are our studio artists, and they go to schools and libraries and community centers with a small 30-minute opera that's written just for children. It's in English. They come and they bring sets and a keyboard, and they set up and perform. It's really entertaining, and it's a great first exposure to opera. So we do things like that. And then we also have community events. Every month we have a brown bag opera concert at the Opera Center. This month it is on January 31st. If we're still in January. And that's just a free lunchtime, 45-minute performance by the same studio artists. You can bring your lunch and enjoy a concert of arias and duets and show tunes. And we have various other offerings as well.
Awesome. So for Brown Bag Opera, you bring your lunch and they just perform an array of musical offerings for you?
Yeah. Take a break in the middle of your day, come sit down and enjoy your lunch while you hear some glorious singing.
And that sounds lovely. Tell me about the other big stage show this year in March.
So March, we will be doing Carousel by Rodgers and Hammerstein, which is, of course, a musical, but it's a very operatic musical. We're very excited about that. It's our first Rodgers and Hammerstein production that we've done, and we have a beautiful production coming to us from Virginia Opera for that, and some incredible singers in that as well.
Awesome. So you're doing sort of a classic traditional opera, and then you've got the Rodgers and Hammerstein, the musical theater kind of aspect of it.
Right, and you think of them as being very separate and different things, but when you think about the timeline, Puccini and Rodgers and Hammerstein lived, there's a big overlap in their lives.
Oh, wow.
And actually an interesting fact is that the play that Carousel is based off of, Lilium, Puccini actually tried to get the rights to turn that into an opera before Rodgers and Hammerstein got to it. So it could have been Carousel the opera, but instead Rodgers and Hammerstein made the musical.
That is fascinating. I really thought Puccini was way longer ago.
Most people do, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the common belief. So what are any other opportunities to experience Pensacola Opera this season, or have we kind of covered them all?
It's countless. We have a full calendar on our website, and follow us on social media. You'll see everything. Another thing that's tons of fun next month is Bourbon and Broadway on February 15th. It's our studio artists, again, will be featured. They'll be singing a whole program of Broadway favorites from all different time periods, and we'll have professional bourbon tastings guided by somebody from Old Hickory Whiskey Bar, and also a catered barbecue dinner. So it's a one-stop shop, a great evening. It'll be at the Museum of Commerce, and it'd be great to come to.
Okay, and did you say the date of that?
February 15th.
February 15th. Sounds amazing Valentine's kind of date night there. So how can people get tickets to shows and just stay up to date on what's going on with the opera?
So everything is on our website, PensacolaOpera.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll see everything as it's posted and happening and scheduled. If you want to come stop by in the office, pay us a visit. We're also happy to kind of explain what's coming up as well. We're down on Tarragona Street downtown. We're open regular Monday through Friday.
Wonderful. And what would you say to somebody who's maybe never been to an opera before and doesn't quite know exactly what to expect, or maybe they're expecting it to be a sort of stuffy affair? What would you say to them to kind of get them in the room, welcome them in?
Yeah, so La Boheme is a great example of how to welcome somebody into opera who's never been. It's the characters on stage in this opera are real people. It's about a group of starving artists, so it's not, royalty or kings or anything. So you're going to see people on stage you can relate to. And if you're worried about not understanding the story, we always have super titles above the stage, which is a line-by-line translation. It's just like if you were watching a movie with subtitles, so you'll know everything that they're saying, even though they're singing in Italian. You can wear whatever you'd like to be comfortable. A lot of people use it as an opportunity to dress up, but you don't have to. We're not the Metropolitan Opera in New York, so we're down in Florida. We keep things a little more casual, but you're free to dress up if you'd like.
Sure. And I was telling you earlier, I know somebody who's in the opera chorus. Tell me about the opera chorus and how it involves the people from the community.
The chorus is an incredible group of, depending on the show, between 20 and 35 volunteers who donate hours of their time each year learning music, learning staging, memorizing the scores, and they perform on stage with the professional artists that we bring in. And they're a pivotal part of the action and of everything going on stage, and we couldn't do anything without them, so they really add so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then just really quick before we sign off, give me the dates for La Boheme.
La Boheme is Friday, January 20th, and Sunday, the 22nd. On Friday, it's at 7:30, and on Sunday, it's a matinee at 2 o'clock.
Wonderful. All right, well, thank you so much for being here, Cody.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Until next time, enjoy life. You've earned it.